Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. And I know I covered this sort of idea, I'm pretty sure, before, possibly in August or before. I know I probably talked about this issue quite a few times, but I thought with the situation between China and Taiwan, especially, or even other Asian nations, it's something I thought I'd bring back up because I think it's quite an important issue. Which is my idea for basically for a network or alliance or whatever, a union, basically an Asian union, although that could be mixed up with the African Union because it'd be AU, sorry for short, or AA, as I like my alliterations, Asian Alliance. But yeah, this is basically some of my ideas, as I often do these list videos, about what I would love to see this group doing, a union for Asian nations. And I call it the M.K.S Asian Union because I would like to be like the founder of it as a person who came up with the idea. So I put my own initials in brackets. But yeah, basically I would love to bring all possible Asian nations, preferably all of them, and people from Asia and people even of Asian descent, perhaps from the diaspora, to unite together and work together and support each other. And like, hopefully not arrogant, but proud. Hashtag proud to be Asian, but hashtag proud to be Asian, but not arrogant, hopefully in brackets. But yeah, so yeah, here are some of my ideas about that. And it would be hard to see Asia ever be united, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see such. I know there's a lot of division between different regions, different religious groups, spiritual and religious groups. For some reason, we just can't unite. And even though a lot of Asians are like well academically educated, I think being united is even more intelligent. Perhaps that's my opinion anyway. So I'd like to on that issue. I'd like to talk about how dyslexic people have their own strengths that might not be academic. I know I've mentioned this quite a few times, but I think with I thought I'd mention that as I was talking about. Like I think even though they're academic, they're not the smartest if they don't unite. In my opinion, that is being intelligent or smart or whatever the difference is. Like having a good brain to unite. In my opinion. So anyway, here goes. So number one, I say I would love to unite all the Asian nations, and Central Asia symbolically. I would really love to be the pivotal point, which would just like I'd love to do with Africa, with Central Africa, which I think would be ironic, but I hope to talk that in October, as it's Black History Month then, as well here in the UK anyway. But yeah, and in Africa, I believe, or it actually originated from African countries signing peace treaties or something. So I hope to unite Africa in October. Yeah, basically, I would love for Central Asia to be symbolically the place where they unite. Central Asia would host, like, hopefully have buildings, maybe fundraise to have buildings, and where it would be a place where those events, conferences and events and summits and whatnot are held. Hopefully, ideally in my dreams, it would be in Central Asia, across Central Asia, and they would do things like handle disputes, like if China and India, or India and Pakistan, or whatever, or China and Japan, or at the moment China and Taiwan, which is quite topical, if that's the right word, or current, or whatever. I think that's the right words. Anyway, they would look at the border disputes and look at ways to unite them together. I was thinking recently with Taiwan, they could probably be in a better position because they could say, like, between America and China, they could say, I'll tell you what, we're going to support whichever one of you supports us the most with funding and things like that. Number two, I hope to look at what Asian nations can learn from each other. Generally, three, I hope to promote human rights and liberty, libertarianism, freedom of speech and expression, individual liberty, and things like that, privatization, lower taxes, and deregulation of industries and things like that. The general freedoms, and I'd love to hear from Asians like what freedom means to them. So I hope to hear from people in Asia themselves. Number four, I'd love to support things like Asian YouTubers, Asian politicians, and Asians in business, and just Asians networking and like supporting Asia as much as possible. And also, I'd say I'd love to see peace in Asia. Again, I think Central Asia coming together as this union to talk about how to make peace between all the Asian nations and like use disputed territories instead, like I think it's called the Galwan Heights in the Himalayas between China and India. That could be used instead of fighting each other. That could be used to bring China and India together to make a Chindian network. I hope to make lots of networks like the Chindian network, which would look at how China and India could work together more rather than against each other, and use that area which once divided and divided us, or whatever, to actually, or them, to actually unite them, and that could be a place where China and India discuss trade, politics, have anti-terror drills, and look at ways to benefit each other and learn about each other's cultures and talk about what they like about each other, and instead of being divided and that sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully making peace across Asia. Again, if there's disputes between Asian nations, maybe they could go to the Asian Union and put forward, each side would put forward their idea, their points of view, and hopefully the Asian Union would listen as fairly as possible. I just hope they could also tackle corruption or things like that. So that could be a problem, if I'm honest, where money could be used to buy out people to take the decisions. So I hope that could be tackled somehow. Again, I hope to solve problems for it, which I hope to come to. Number 5, I hope Asian nations will talk about what their goals are and how they can help each other achieve their goals, like China, for instance, how they want to tackle poverty, and India, how they want to build into a $5 or $10 trillion economy, and how they can network together, talk about how they can help Asian nations as much as possible. A bit of a controversial idea with talking with regards, as I was saying, about Taiwan. The Asian Union would. This might offend a few Americans or people who want to, who don't want to see Taiwan become part of China, but I'd love to unite Asian nations as much as possible. So controversial idea, but the Asian Union would perhaps look at ways to help China and Taiwan come closer together, and as well as China and Japan, and again the rest of Asia, Far East, and India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. Although I can't really imagine it that much, but even overseas, like in Leicester, there was a lot of riots between different Asian groups, which I think is a shame. But I'd love us to unite together, maybe even use imperialism and the far right, use that negative to make a positive by coming together. So I hope that makes sense. But again, yeah, discussing goals and aims and how the Asian nations can work together. And again, hopefully not be arrogant, but proud to be Asian. Hashtag proud to be Asian. Again, but in brackets, but hopefully not arrogant. Number 6, I'd love for them to work together as much as possible on goals and achieving their potential and things like that. But also, as I often say, I would love to support. I'd love to encourage the sport of Serie or Italian football generally. Serie being the Italian league. I would love to encourage support of that across Asia, China, India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and the rest of Asia, Japan, places like that. Number 7, also the same for Celtic, and a bit biased. I don't know if God will listen to me on this one, but I hope God will bless Asia as well. Number 8, I hope for Asian nations to talk about what they love about each other, and again use negative things from the past like imperialism, racism. I suppose, I mean, even Asians were enslaved at some point. Apparently, like Indians were taken to the Caribbean and enslaved, but certainly many people, like the Chinese, were in indentured labor and all that sort of thing. So I hope they use that negative history to unite together and support each other as much as possible, and encourage each other, and use the fact that, like, white supremacy to actually say, if white supremacists hate us all, then we should unite together as people of colour. And on that note, they could also have better relations with Africa, which I hope to facilitate through Egypt, as it's the only transcontinental country between Africa and Asia, apparently. Number 9, I also hope that the Asian Union will support, again, Asian dreams, but also like Asian poets, authors, writers, poets, authors/writers, artists, architects, and all sorts of projects coming out of Asia and Asian priorities. Number 10, I also hope that they will support young people more. One thing I dislike about Asian culture, possibly African culture too, is like having to respect the elders. I think we should respect everyone equally. So I know, again, another controversial view, but I think the youth are a large part of the future. So I hope they will help the youth. And again, I hope they will learn about, I mainly wish to cover this in October about dyslexia, but I hope they'll learn about dyslexia and ADHD, and that despite the fact we're not good academically, I have dyslexia, not ADHD, but in spite of the fact we're not good academically, we are good in other areas. Or people with autism might not be able to, they may not seem intelligent, or they might not seem like they can communicate, but they can be really good at areas which would help to benefit Asian nations. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as ever, I'd love to hear what you think, especially people from Asian backgrounds, or especially people from Asia themselves. And I'm out. Peace and love.